Hello friends, my name is Sandhu and I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant based out of Ontario, Canada. I love to analyze data and some of the things which I wanted to share with you is based on the data I obtained from IRCC. Let me dive right into it and try to make sense of that. So the question which I'm asking myself and even for people who want to apply for study permit, do you have to think about which DLI are you applying to? So DLI is nothing but a designated learning institution which is authorized by government to have intake international students. It could be a college, a private, or a community college, or a university, right? So the data we have right now is number of study permit applications, and it does not include extensions because that's really good, which are approved and refused between January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2022, broken down by country of citizenship, designated learning institute, and the year, right? So we have data for all the countries, right, from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe, right? And we have data for 2017, so how many were approved and refused, 2018 and 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, right? I'm going to be primarily kind of focusing on 2022, and uh, and when we will basically answer this question whether all DLIs are alike or not, because at the end of the day, we all know that visa approval is based on many factors. It is, your financial, your purpose of study, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of deep dive for Indian citizens and see what is going on in that, right? So if I go here, so let me just go to the location where you have the Indian citizens applying to different DLIs, and we have a lot of data. For example, it's quite a number of pages, and it ends here. And if you look at the last two rows, which is basically 2020 approved and 2022 refused. So we have 184,610 applications. Study permits were approved for Indian citizens and 162,483 which were refused for Indian citizens. So I understand. So this is not that convenient to look at. So I just tried converting that into an Excel sheet and show you some of my observations on that. So what we have here is basically all that data. Basically, I put that in an Excel sheet to analyze. And on first column, we have the DLI. So I'm kind of hiding that. So I don't want to make it obvious. And then what we have done is basically we have the 2017 visa approval, refused, and total applications and approval, visa approval percentage. And we have done it for 2018, 2019, and all the way to 2022. And I think there is no point discussing all the 17 ones, so I'm just going to hide that. So let me just hide these, and maybe I'm also going to hide the 2021, and then we will focus only primarily on the 2022 data, right? So let me just zoom in a little bit so that you can clearly see, right? So if you see here, I'm doing it for Indian citizens. So if I go all the way down, and you see that for Indian students in 2022, so what we see here that there were 347,000 applications from Indian citizens for study permit in 2022, and out of which 184,610 were approved and 162,000 were refused. So the total approval rate for Indian citizens was 53. And if I look at the number of DLIs students are applying to, so they come to around 715. But in 2022, I basically accounted for only the DLIs where there were some students, maybe one student. And what we have found is that there were total 450 DLIs Indian students applied to, right? So the most interesting thing in whole of this is that there are many DLIs where the approval rate for visa approval rate is even less than 10%. Let me just show you something here interesting. And for example, if I go here and if I say choose, and if I say less than 10% approval rate. And if you see here, and if I apply the filters, what you see here, and if I calculate all of them, so you see that there are almost 121 DLIs where the visa approval rate was less than 10%, right? So maybe from 0% to 10%. So that's what we see here, right? And and there are so many of them. And now even if I drill further down, so what I let's just instead of 10%, let's look at less than 25%, right? And if I look at 25% visa approval, less than 25% visa approval, and then you see that there are many DLIs which are there are almost, let me just count. So this is around 190 7 DLIs where the visa approval rate was less than 25%. And let me even drill down further to find out, we are not interested in DLIs where like one or two students. Are there any DLIs, really big DLIs, where you have more than 100 students and their approval is less than 25? So let's look at that. So if we go further, then we see that, let's look at greater than, where the number of applications were at least 100 for Indian students. So let me do that and apply the filter. And now if you look at this, so what you see here, there's some of the DLIs, like for example, this one, you have 350 students applied and 12% were approved. So here you have 115 students applied and only 2 students got approved. So that was around 2%. And if you go further, you have 1,000 students applied and there was 7% approval rate. And then there were 125 students applied and there was 2% approval rate. So that tells you something, that there are certain DLIs where students may not be getting the desired approval, visa approval. And that could be also maybe because the certain standards for intake might be different for that matter. So that could be one of the reasons I would assume that why this is happening. So let me just clear the filters and let me show you maybe one or two institutions which have done really well. So let me show that. Let me clear the filters. So instead of that, let me just look at the DLI. So we have all the DLIs here. So I can select any one of them, but let me select the ones which are really, really good. Let's say if I want to just select University of Toronto for that matter. So I'm going to do Toronto, and there's many of them which has come. So let me just unselect them and let's just find University of Toronto. So if I click on that, so we see that in that there were 966 students who have applied and the approval was 91%. Let's do one more and let's do maybe Waterloo University. Let's do that. Yeah, so let's do that. And if you see that, you have 90% approval. Then I can also tell you that there are many other community colleges which are pretty good as well, which is like much above the average. Let's look at maybe Sheridan College for that matter, just to see what is going on there. So Sheridan College. So let me just focus on this college. Why I'm not, yeah, so here it is. So there were 8,396 applications and the approval was pretty good, 68%. So you can see that, and you can decide for yourself that how you need to think about the DLIs. And I have the information for pretty much all the DLIs for all the countries. So if I go uh, from from the last one, so let me see which is the last one. So you have basically Zimbabwe. So we have where the students are applying to. So if you need any information on that, you can always reach out. And I hope we answered this question, that uh, which is DLI a factor? Maybe it is. So you just need to do it for yourself. And if you need any help, you can always reach out to me. My number is 1437-848-7200 and my website is www.dilimmigration.com, and you will find a lot of videos and links to YouTube and other social media channels. And my YouTube handle is @RealDilSandhu. And I've done a lot of analysis on many different things and also talked about many pathways. So you can always check that out. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like the video, please do like and subscribe to the my YouTube channel. Thank you and have a wonderful day.